So in the last video we looked at expanding expressions, which was going from the factorized form, something like 2x plus 5, that's the factorized form because we have the 2 multiplying by the x plus 5. And these are 2 factors because they're multiplying together. So that was, we went from the factorized form to the expanded form. So expanding this one, we have 2x plus 10. And this one is called the expanded form. So the next thing we're going to practice is factorizing, which is the exact opposite of expanding. So factorizing means we're going from the expanded form and making it more simple by turning the expression into 2 factors multiplying together. So factorizing means writing an expression as 2 factors multiplying. So let's go back a step to see how we can factorize just normal numbers. So if we have the number 12, if we want to factorize 12, we can rewrite it as 2 numbers that multiply together, which equal 12. And we've practiced finding factors before. One possible way we could do it is 3 times 4. So this, written as 3 times 4, we've factorized 12. If we want to factorize 32, we can write that as 4 times 8. So when we're factorizing anything, we're just writing it as 2 factors, 2 numbers multiplying together. So when we're looking at an expression, like the one here, the aim of factorizing is to rewrite it back in the factorized form, where we had our 2, that's one of the factors, multiplying by x plus 5, and that's the other factor. So the method we're going to use for factorizing is the grid model again. So if you can't remember the grid model, watch the previous video where we practiced using it for expanding expressions. But now we're going to use it for factorizing. So if we look at if we look at this expression here, 2x plus 10, and we'll put it here, 2x plus 10, we're going to use the grid to find the factorized form. So instead of starting along the edges, which we did before, we're starting in the middle because this is where the expanded form was. So we know we have 2 x's plus 10. So the only tiles we're using are x's, and we have 2 of those, and we also have 10 of the 1 tiles. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the objective is, just like before, to arrange all of these tiles in a perfect rectangle. So we can think the 2 x's might go along the top like this. And then we might fit We can't fit the ones along here because they don't match that row. That row is x long. So let's try putting them here in 5 rows of 2. 4 rows and 5 rows. So there's our 10 there. And now we're thinking backwards from before. So we need to look and see how long or how wide is each column and row. If we start at the top, we can see the first column here, this is all 1 tile wide. So we're going to put a 1 at the top. And the second column, that's also 1 tile wide. So in total, this factor has 2 1s in it, which means it's 2 as one of our factors. And now we'll look at the first row along here. And this row we can see is x tall. So we're going to need an x tile on the edge. And then the next row, that's only 1 tile tall. The next one's 1, and all these other ones are 1. So now if we add together everything we have on this side, in the first column, we have an x and 5 1s. So x plus 5. That's our second factor. So we know with a grid or an array, we're always multiplying. So our 2 factors must be 2 times x plus 5. So the factorized form is going to be 2 times x plus 5. And we'll write it like that. And if we look right back at the start, 2 times x plus 5, that's exactly what we started with. So we can see how this grid model can help us to factorize expressions. Let's practice one more with the grid model. We'll do 6x plus 15. So we'll need our grid. We know that we're multiplying. And we have 6 x's this time. And then we have 15 of the 1s. So we'll just use circles. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And using all these tiles, we need to somehow arrange this into rows and columns to make a perfect rectangle. So it all fits in here. So I'm thinking we will have x's along the top. Let's try 3 x's. So we've used 3 of them. We have another 3 x's, so let's try putting them underneath here. And now we have 3 columns, so we know we can fit our 15 1s in here, because we can have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So we've made a perfect rectangle, which means we've factorized this properly. We just need to figure out what the factors are. So these columns, they're all 1 wide. So we'll have a 1, a 1, and a 1. That means 3 is one of our factors. And on this side, we have an x. The next row, that's x tall as well. And then we have 5 1s after that. So this column, the other factor, is made up of 2 x's plus 5. That's our other factor. So to rewrite 6x plus 15 in factorized form, it's going to be 3 times 2x plus 5.